Hello everyone. This is a project that I've been thinking of doing for a long while and finally get around to doing it. So I'm going to talk about what you need to start a kitchen to cook Chinese food at home. So this is what I learned from coming over to America and having to find all the ingredients myself and figuring out, well, what is it that I actually need absolutely to do something? So let's get into it. So to get your own kitchen started to cook Chinese food at home, you're going to need both dry and wet ingredients. And also maybe a couple of cooking utensils, so maybe I'll get into that later on. So today we're going to... Alright, so we're going to start with the wet ingredients. We're going to start with 2 wines, 2 soy sauces, and sesame oil. And this is an optional one, but I thought it would make sense to have all 3 soy sauces next to each other to compare. So we're going to first start with this one. This is called many names. It's Chinese cooking wine, or Shaoxing wine, or Liaojiu. And all of that means the same thing. It's an amber colored liquid. It is an alcohol-based solution. It has a lot of seasoning steeped into it. It is used quite often in a lot of meat dishes. And then you have your rice wine, which is pretty much as it says, it's a rice wine. And it's used a lot in similar ways to the white cooking wine in Western cooking. Now, everything that I'm showing you, you can buy it in different brands. These are just the brands that are available in the Chinese grocery store that I go to. Alright, so now we get into the soy sauces. So for any essential Chinese kitchens, you're going to need 2 different types of soy sauces at the least. First one is called a light soy sauce. This one has a lighter color and is a lot saltier. This one is called a dark soy sauce. The dark soy sauce is less salty, a little bit sweet and thicker, and it gives a bolder color when you use it. Now the third one is called a soy paste. So the soy paste is very thick, as the name suggests, and it's actually the sweetest of the 3. It gives some color. It gives some color better than the light soy sauce, but not as dark as the dark soy sauce. And it gives your food a little bit of a sweeter taste to it. And that's why it is an optional thing. And then of the 3, when you purchase soy sauce, this is the brand, one of the brands that I really like. This is the brand that we grow up with. It is the Pearl River Bridge brand. Right, that's the one that we grew up with, so I really like this brand. If you can't find this particular brand, you can also look for this brand, which is Li Kum Ki. And this is also a good brand. It comes from Hong Kong. That's another brand that I grew up with. And both of them make good quality soy sauces that you can be sure is actually soy sauce and not just brown liquid with salt. And soy paste, as far as I can tell, this is about the only brand that I can find outside of Taiwan. So if you don't have it, that's okay. It's an optional ingredient in your kitchen. And the last one of the wet ingredient is your sesame oil. Now sesame oil also comes with many different quality. The stuff you can buy most at the grocery stores are your run-of-the-mill sesame oil, and they should all work pretty well. If you can find high-quality sesame oil, of course, go for it. Alright, so next I'm going to show you the difference between these 3 soy sauces. And to do that, I am going to have to hold the camera by hand. Alright, I'm going to show you how the 3 different soy sauces differ from each other. So first we're going to look at the light soy sauce. I'm going to pour with my left hand, hope that I manage it. And then we have the dark soy sauce. And finally, we have the soy paste. Alright, so let's take a look. So the light soy sauce here, let me turn the light on. There we go. The light soy sauce, as you can see, is much thinner. And it has a very dark brown color, but not nearly as dark and thick color as the dark soy sauce. Right, so you can see it coats much thicker. It's a much pronounced caramel dark color. And then you have the soy paste, which is literally a paste, right? So it's much thicker. It's about, even though when you look at them, the dark soy sauce and the soy paste look like they have about the same color. Actually, when it goes down onto the food, the dark soy sauce is going to color your food much more vibrantly. So if you don't want a super dark color, but you want some dark color, you can either use just a tiny bit of the dark soy sauce or you can use some soy paste. Okay? Okay, next we're going to talk about some of the optional wet ingredients that you might want. The first one is oyster sauce. For oyster sauce, always get the Lee Kum Kee. This is the classic bottle. They have some more updated bottles. So this is the label that is on oyster sauce for like eternity when we're growing up. So oyster sauce is very useful in some of the savory dishes. The next thing is an optional for you, but essential for me, is this dark rice vinegar. Now, vinegar in China comes in many varieties. There is a regular white vinegar that most people are familiar with. There is a light dark brown vinegar. This is a darker rice vinegar, and there are probably other varieties out there. And there's a red vinegar. This one is the vinegar that my family uses for a lot of different dishes. So my family comes from the northern part of China, Beijing, and this is the kind of vinegar we use for a lot of dipping, a lot of seasoning, and a lot of cooking. The brand that I always try to find is the Gold Plum. Right? Okay, so hot sauces. I keep 2 hot sauces on hand all the time. The first one is this one, also from Lee Kum Kee. It is a Guilin style chili sauce. So you can open it, you can see in here it's a very thick paste with whole bits of the seeds of the chili in it and parts of the chili still in it, so it is not that spicy, but it has a garlicky flavor to it, and it goes really well into most dishes if you want to add some heat. And of course, sriracha is not exactly Chinese, but it is fairly popular in Hong Kong where I grew up, so I always have sriracha as well. Alright, then next we're going to go through some dry ingredients. I will start with actually cooking stuff and then seasoning. So the most essential one you must have is this thing. These are dehydrated shiitake mushrooms. It comes in a couple different types. For example, they have types that have a very pronounced splitting of the top area. Like this, right? So you can see the top is split almost in a grid. And then there are ones that are more plain and flat. They're called different names, but you can buy them. It's fairly interchangeable. They're either called donggu or huagu. So either way is fine. You can get them in big bags at their Chinese grocery store. And then when you open it, just put them in an airtight container, or sometimes I just put them in a Ziploc bag. Now to use these, you're going to have to rehydrate them first. So typically what you want to do when you use this ingredient is take the ones you want out. Then you can see some of them still have a stem on them, like this piece. And when you're about to use them, you should take off the stem because it's very tough. It doesn't rehydrate very well and it's not good eating. But it has a lot of flavor in it, so you want to keep it when you soak it. So once you take off the stem, you put everything into a bowl of lukewarm or cold water and you let them rehydrate, typically from about 30 to 45 minutes. And the hydration liquid is something you can use into your dish, so save them. You need to give the mushrooms a rinse first because to get rid of some of the grit on them. But otherwise, that's how you use these dehydrated mushrooms. They pack a whole lot of flavor, so it's really indispensable. Another thing that you're going to need will be white sesame seed, right? So this one, just a very big bag of the white sesame seed. You can find it in either the Middle Eastern area grocery stores or the Chinese grocery stores. It's all the same. You can get them. The other one that I keep on hand at home to really just make like 2 different dishes, but you really need this to make those 2 dishes, is the wood ear mushroom. So in the wood ear mushroom, they look like this once they rehydrate it. When it's dry, they just look like tea leaf almost. So there are many different types you can buy. There are bigger ones, there are flatter ones. They're all interchangeable if you find them. This is the kind of mushroom you need to make mushu pork. If you don't have it, it is not mushu pork. It is just stir-fried pork. So to make mushu pork, you're gonna need this. Alright, so the other essential one you want is white pepper powder. Focus. There we go. White pepper powder. So that's a very standard seasoning for Chinese cooking. Alright, next we're going to talk about some of the spices and seasoning that I use a lot in my cooking. So the first one is just star anise. You can get it either, you don't have to get it from the Chinese grocery, you can just get it from your regular grocery store. But you want a whole or at least partial star anise. Right? This is used a lot in some the stew dishes that we do. The next thing you want is Sichuan peppercorn. So Sichuan peppercorn is very different than the white and black peppercorn in Western cuisine. So the Sichuan peppercorn is typically reddish in color. Although if you get the fake bad ones, they're just food seasoning, food coloring, and once you cook it, the coloring comes out, and you know that's no good. But these real Sichuan peppercorns is kind of reddish in color, and they have a very unique property of giving the tongue a slightly numbing feeling to it, and it is essential for Sichuan style cooking. The next thing we use a lot is caraway seeds. So I already lost the packaging. These I just bought from your regular Western grocery store. They sell this as well. Another one we use is cassia, or really just cinnamon bark. So we use it in savory dishes. So you're going to need this for some of the cooking as well. And so those are the basic, essential, dry ingredients and seasoning. Well, that's a quick tour of the essential ingredients for Chinese kitchen, and I hope that was helpful to you. And later on, I might try to actually do some cooking and recipes to show you how to use some of these things. So stay tuned.